Bhramari goddess is a goddess that lives at a mountain top above the Kurukulla Devi temple also. Well, in all animal kingdom, in birds and animals, you have the little ones. When the little ones grow, they go somewhere else to find their own world. But bees are different. When a beehive matures and there's enough nectar in the flowers around, the queen bee, the wise and the old one, decides to leave and leave the beehive to the young queen to take place, which is a very peculiar concept, but a very beautiful dance that ensues when the old bee decides to leave with half of the worker bees and its own caravan of bees. And here we have a mature, wise queen who decided it's time for her to move on. And she is sitting under our apple tree in our cabin in forest in Uppsala. And she won't be here for long. She's waiting for all the other bees to gather around her, and then they would look for a new place. But they don't know that the Swedish winter is harsh and they're not native from here. So they might survive the forest in the summer with all its nectar and the blooms of flowers, but come winter, they wouldn't survive. So we have another bee hive ready to welcome the old wise queen, to give her a new place so that she can thrive with her companion bees. So here we are by our beehives, and bees, honey, are very significant in Tantra. You might have even done a pranayam, Bhramari pranayam, where one makes the sound, closes the eyes and the ears, and then focuses on this sound, which is very therapeutic for the mind, for the calmness, for getting into a state of meditation itself, for relaxation, for anxiety removal. So many benefits. And it is called Bhramari pranayam because it has the Bhramar, the humming, and the bees also have this natural humming. Listening to the bees is a very natural way of getting into that state also, of the state of meditation in itself. So very significant. Honey we use in many rituals, very significant. And of course, since these are Tantra, Siddha Tantra bees, so they also get to say in it that when we take the honey, we of course leave the majority of the honey for them and for the winter, because it is tough winter for them here. And we don't give them sugar, even though sugar might be good for some, easy to digest, but we give them early summer honey, which is very good for them, and we give them during the winter to survive on that. And the honey is definitely significant, and there is a goddess also. No, Bhramari, we say pranayam, but there is a goddess also, Bhramari. And we are doing Kurukulla Temple Sankalp, where we are raising awareness and to raise funds also for building and restoration of the Kurukulla Devi temple, which is going under a lot of landslide lately. We did make a documentary and we started a Sankalp around there for kalaa offering. And what better kalaa offering than the bees and the honeys, and which are very much connected with the 64 yogini, the 64 yogini tantra also, and the Bhramari goddess. Bhramari goddess is a goddess that lives at a mountain top above the Kurukula Devi temple also. And there's a very beautiful story around Bhramari Devi also there, that first of all she became Bhramari Devi as a manifestation of Shakti to destroy a demonic force. And to destroy that demonic force, Devi took the form of millions of bees, and bees emanated from her body. And that also became one of the story of how Bhramari Devi ji originated. And the place where Bhramari Devi ji sits on that mountain also is connected with this lore a little bit. That every few years there is a festival, fixed interval. And during that festival is marked as an occasion for the bees to arise from the earth. Very mystical experience for some, and villagers also gather, some of them, for celebration as a mela, a festivity for the goddess Bhramari Devi ji. Also, it's overlooking the whole valley where the Kurukulla Devi ji temple is there. And here we are, not in Himachal, India, but here we are with the bees in Uppsala, Sweden, and having Goddess Kurukulla Devi ji in our heart, in our mind, in our remembrance, and offering all these bees, offering the honey to her from here. Om Namo Kurukulle. And if you remember, we started off this video by showing you a beehive which was splitting, because the queen, the mature queen, not necessarily old, but the queen who decides that because of so much abundance in the forest, so much nectar, that the queen decides that, aha, okay, there's so much flower, so much nectar, let me go somewhere else, so that the hive can regenerate itself and a new queen takes place. And we saw earlier how the other wiser, mature queen decided to go with half of the flock of bees to some other place. And we were trying to usher her with her worker bees into the new abode that we had set up for her. But she decided otherwise. She decided she doesn't want to be in that beehive, and she went her own way towards the forest. And with a very heavy heart, we let her go. There is a thing about Shakti's sovereignty also, the independence also. And of course, one could have forced them to come in the beehive. And many times we would have done that also. Just like sometimes when we are teaching, then also these moments come that whether we allow the participant, the student who is learning from us, to go their own way in their own sovereignty and understand gradually, or we sometimes be strict or say directly to make them understand and learn also certain things that we are trying to teach. And there's always a balance between that, and one can't really force open a bud into a flower. One can perhaps nurture it more by putting water, putting the nutrients, and allowing the sunlight to reach and allowing the flower to open. And that is pretty much how the Shakti works. And sometimes it could be difficult also. For example, the bees went away. We know very well how tough the Swedish winter is. They went with their good mind, thinking there is abundance in the forest and they can survive, thrive anywhere. They don't need to be in my little box which I had put for them. And we let them go. But we know very well they wouldn't be able to survive through the winter. They would definitely die. And that's how it is. Sometimes we have to pay the price of being direct in teaching, forcing the bees to come in, and sometimes we have to allow them to go and let nature takes its own course. And there's this whole idea of consent. One can't really force without the consent. One can't really force a student into some teaching. There has to be consent for that. Direct teaching, there was a time when a student would come to a guru and the gurus would give direct teaching very easily, very spontaneously. But in these time, place and circumstances, the consent has become very important. And we also understand that, the sensitivities of the current mind. So there cannot be direct teaching without the consent for that, because sometimes direct teaching could be hard. The bees do not know that there is a winter coming and it will be hard for them to survive. Bees don't know that. But forcing them in the hive is actually needing to force them, and that may not have the consent in the human bees buzzing in the world. So that's also a very beautiful lesson that one can contemplate on.
It's a privilege to be taught.
It indeed is a privilege to be taught, and it's a pleasure to teach, but also a burden, and it's a duty. And here we are offering the bees, and there is a
Wasp, is it?
wasp sitting on the beehive, and it's a difficult life for bees. Also, it's not all roses and sunshine. They have to fend for their hive from wasp that tries to enter, because wasps also like bee honey, and it tries to snatch it. So we'll try to do our part, and we'll let the bees do their part. The bees are buzzing.
So this is one of our Kurukulla Temple Sankalp offerings. And once again, we invite all of you or any of you who feels drawn and who feels inspired to also share your kalaas and your offerings. If you haven't noticed, on our webpage, one can go to Kurukulla Temple Sankalp, the hashtag, and one will see lots of beautiful offerings already that we have put up on the webpage. And it is just a delight to be able to see the beauties and the varieties of things that are being offered. And remember to also add or tag, try to tag Siddha Tantra Arts in whatever you are offering, so that we get notified somehow that you have offered something in social media. That way we can try to, as best as possible, to link it to the web page, to the wall of offerings that we have there on the web page. And it's going to grow, and it is growing already. So join this Kurukulla Temple Sankalp, both by offerings and also by funds.